citizen of India may request information from a public authority, a body of government or instrumentality of state, which is required to reply expeditiously within 30 days. In case of matter involving a petitioner's life and liberty, the information has to be provided within 48 hours. The Act also requires every public authority to computerize their records for wide dissemination and to proactively publish certain categories of information so that the citizens need minimum recourse to request for information formally. The RTI bill was passed by Parliament of India on 15th June 2005 and came into force with effect from 12th October 2005. Every day, on an average, over 4,800 RTI applications are filed. In the first 10 years of the commencement of the Act, over 1,75 lakhs application had been filed. Although right to information is not included as a fundamental right in the Constitution of India, it protects the fundamental rights to freedom of expression and speech under Article 19, Clause 1, Clause A, and right to life and personal liberty under Article 21, guaranteed by the Constitution. The authorities under RTI Act 2005 are called public authorities. The Public Information Officer, PIO, or the first appellate authority in the public authorities perform quasi-judicial function of deciding on the application and appeal respectively. This act was enacted in order to consolidate the fundamental right in the Indian Constitution, freedom of speech. Since RTI is implicit in the right to freedom of speech and expression under Article 19 of the Indian Constitution, it is an implied fundamental right. Information disclosure in India had traditionally been restricted by the Official Secret Act 1923 and various other special laws which the new RTI Act overrides. Right to information codifies a fundamental right of the citizens of India. RTI has proven to be very useful, but is counteracted by the Whistleblowers Protection Act 2011. The Right to Information Amendment Bill 2019 seeks to amend Section 13, 16, and 27 of the RTI Act. Section 13 of the original Act, it sets the terms of the Central Chief Information Commissioner and Information Commissioner at 5 years or until the age of 65, whichever is earlier. Finally, in Ashwini K. Singh's case on 20th September 2020, it is established that right to information is a fundamental right. The right to information in India has been mired with controversies ranging from their use in political battles, asking for educational degrees of political rivals, or cases of blatant refusal to provide information on high-profile projects, to allegation of misuse by civil society. The backlash against RTI by the state hampered the citizens' right to know. Attacks on RTI activists and protection suggested Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, CHRI, data points to over 310 cases across India where people were either attacked, murdered, physically or mentally harassed, or had their property damaged because of the information they sought under RTI. The data throws up over 50 alleged murders and 2 suicides that were directly linked with RTI applications filed. RTI Act 2005 applies to both central as well as state governments. It also covers the acts and functionaries of the public authorities. There is a consensus felt that there is a need to amend the RTI Act to provide for the protection of those seeking information under the Act. The Asian Center for Human Rights recommends that a separate chapter, protection of those seeking information under the RTI Act, be inserted into the Act. Protection measures suggested include mandatory immediate registration of complaints of threats or attacks against RTI activists on the first information reports and placing such FIRs before the magistrate or judge of the area within 24 hours for issuance of directions for protection of those under threat and their family members, and periodic review of such protection measures. Conducting inquiry into threats or attacks by a police officer not below the rank of Deputy Superintendent of Police or Assistant Commissioner of Police to be concluded within 90 days. Many civil society members have recently alleged the subversion of the Act of the Right to Information Act by the invocation of intellectual property rights argument by the government agencies from time to time. Most notable are the right to information denied by RBI on demonetization, citing intellectual property laws. The right to information denied by Uttar Pradesh Irrigation Department after more than 8 months of a wait on under construction Gomti Riverfront Development Project. A group of researchers requested for environment impact and project report on the project, which is flagged for the negative impacts, tax money wastage by environmental scientists and research reports. The scholars argue that the Right to Information Act's original intent to make government transparent and accountable is flattering as RTI requests are rejected and the bureaucratic system are bogged down by millions of requests. Many RTIs are rejected because the bureaucratic requirements, including the technocratic language used of filing, are too onerous and legalistic for ordinary citizens. 60% of the RTI appeals made to Information Commissioner in Delhi are rejected for a variety of reasons, including that appeals are not typed or not written in English or lack an index of the papers attached or a list of date. The bureaucratic barrier, worse for those without access to higher education or information, makes the right to information inaccessible. Many citizens had to seek out NGOs, RTI activists, or lawyers to file their RTIs. Many activists view the Right to Information Act as a final liberation from British colonialism. They describe the RTI law as a tool for empowering ordinary citizens and changing the culture of government by making it transparent, less corrupt, participatory, and accountable. They also note that RTI requests provide strategy and substance for activists on a broad range of social issues, including land and environmental rights, social security benefits, the working of financial institutions, political party financing reform, civic infrastructure, and even public-private partnership. As per Section 24 of the Act, intelligence and security organizations, both central and state, are exempted from the RTI Act except in case of corruption or human rights violation. Such central organizations are listed in Schedule 2 of the Act. The schedule has been amended 4 times in September 2005, March 2008, October 2008, and May 2021. And to discuss this very, very important, relevant, and a burning issue, that is the right to information RTI, we have a very elite guest along with 2 young youth who are going to give their views on RTI. So I would like to invite my first panelist guest. He is Colonel S. Dini, retired. Colonel Dini is a contemporary writer now based at Kollam. He served as an Indian Army Infantry Rajput Regiment officer for more than 20 years. He has first-hand combat operational experiences after having served in multiple tenures in Kashmir Valley, Northeast India, and along the line of actual control in Ladakh. In Kashmir, he served for 8 years, both along the line of control and in Rashtriya Rifles. He served as a military observer with United Nations in Congo. He commanded an infantry battalion at Pongong, Titoso for 2 years. After command of battalion, he was nominated for the prestigious Higher Defense Management course. He was posted as a faculty in Defense Services, Staff College, DSSC, Wellington, Tamil Nadu. He took voluntary retirement from the army. He is Masters in Defense and Strategic Studies from Madras University. He completed a graduate certificate course in Strategic Studies from Takshila Institution, Bangalore. He undertook the Curtail Fellowship Program with India Foundation. Currently, he is pursuing MPhil in Defense and Strategic Studies from Madras University. He contributes articles in many publications as well as on digital media such as dinalipi.com, Swarajya, The Print, Rediff.com, USI Publications, moneycontrol.com, and Malayalam newspapers. Participates in various panel discussions on English, Hindi, and Malayalam TV channels and also online website. Welcome, Colonel Dini, on our show. Colonel Dini, you know the RTI, the Right to Information, is a tool where the citizens can take out the right of the information about the central government or the state government functioning. Definitely, we would like to know from you your views, as you have seen even in the army, you have served, as well as now you are as a contemporary writer. You are seeing the conditions in the society and especially the working of the central as well as state government. So we would like to know your views on Right to Information, RTI. Colonel S. Dini, please.
First of all, thank you so much, Goelji, for inviting me for this in this show, and it's a pleasure to be back on your show once again. And also my regards to all my fellow panelists. This topic, RTI, Right to Information Act, 2005. Shri Goelji is already, I think, in his introductory remarks, he's covered more or less all the points which are basics of RTI, and I'm sure all of us know what the RTI is. What is the purpose behind that, and how it is, for the last almost 16 years now, how it has functioned, how it has evolved, what all amendments have happened in the past, and at the present in the present state, how it is effective, not effective, all these discussions. So my take on this is that definitely, something which we have been hearing from very young age is that knowledge is power. We all know that once you have knowledge, that gives you the power. It is not because that it gives you a platform to of supremacy. It gives you the power to ask questions. Once you know that about something, then you can ask questions. And in our culture, especially the Bharatiya culture, we know that this asking questions was always a way of increasing our knowledge and also improving the system. This is which has been always there. So asking questions can only happen once we know about something. Like otherwise, ignorance is bliss, they say. So to know, how do we know? And the things which affect us on a daily basis, the thing which the common man has to bear on a daily basis, he needs to know what is happening to the welfare activities, his security aspect, his future, all these things he needs to know. And that was the basis on which Right to Information Act was enacted, so that the common man is given the power to know what is happening. He needs to question the government, that here I have elected you and put you at the central government or in the state government. Now I would like to know what is this, what is happening to my welfare activities, what is happening to my social security, what is happening to my other aspects of my life. So that was the premise in which the basic premise in which the Right to Information Act was done. Now, as I said, almost 16 years have now passed. And as of date, if I can say very diplomatically, I don't think the RTI has achieved all what it had envisaged itself, that it will become a game changer or it will become a trendsetter. In that sort of a sense, I have my own reservations in saying that the RTI may not have achieved that level in which it was perceived in the first place. However, having said that, I will also agree that definitely, but it has caused a lot of changes in the way the government machinery functions. It has caused a lot of way in the common man perceives his own power now. So to say that the RTI has been totally an act which is not paid off would be wrong. I would say that there is a tremendous scope for improvement of the present act, and we have to overcome the shortages or the shortcomings in this act. So what are the shortcomings in this act, which we although Shri Goel had already made a passing reference also to it. I think one of the most important thing is that in any act or any system for that matter, the more it starts getting stabilized, the more people who run the system understands the loopholes in it, and then they concentrate on the loopholes. So the RTI also, when it had taken off, there were people who were very afraid of the RTI. Somebody would just say that I'll put an RTI, and people used to be when I'm saying people, the public figures or the government authorities, I'm speaking of them, they were little apprehensive, what will happen if somebody does that and all. But today what they have understood is that there are loopholes in the system. And what is the loopholes? Like what he mentioned, that you can put a bureaucratic language in it in such a manner that you have answered it, yet you have not answered the question or whatever is that, or you make such a big time lag, or you bombard people with so much of data that he can't make head and tails of what the person actually asked. And also it's a fact now that RTI has now become a political tool to also belittle the government of the day, belittle the political leaders with a particular if they want to bring down somebody, or the easiest way is to bring an RTI in that manner. So this is also a cause due to which people today are using it as a political tool. Third thing which I find is that some of the honest bureaucrats, they find it difficult to take a decision because of the RTI. Now in the RTI, we know that even an opinion, it is not only the file notings or something like it, even an opinion is taken as an information. So if for example, if a bureaucrat or an officer who says it is his opinion that so and so should not be done, however this is because of this I'm doing this, he may be liable for prosecution or other things. That why did you give that opinion? We saw this during the Rafale cases. A lot of notings and all those things were taken up, and it was scrutinized in a very detailed manner. So it is not easy for a officer to write his comments and also even his opinion. So that also is a big I think setback. And that is why people will what the easiest way now they do is that don't take a decision at all. Even if you take a decision, don't put it on paper. That kind of a thing is also somewhere paralyzing our system, in which otherwise should have become more and more easier to function. Then of course there is a issue of the safety of the RTI activists. We all know that what you mentioned about 310 RTI cases, RTI activists have been there have been attacks on them. And I think last week or last month, if I'm remember correctly, even in my own hometown of Kollam, there was an attack on an RTI activist by a retired police officer. These retired police officer and all the people went to his house and attacked his mother and his this RTI activist, and he was badly shaken up. So this is the kind of state which happens that for an RTI activist. So rightly mentioned that we need to have a protection for the RTI activist. What kind of protection is today we having? That also needs to. Then there is a question of also what I call it as RTI publicity stunts. There are people who take it as that this is my tool, or the 2-minute glory in the media or such thing, and they will bombard people or offices with RTI files so that they will get something out of it, and then they would like to get that publicity stunt. So that also has created unnecessarily hassles in the government functioning. So that also is we have to find a ways and means of how to reduce the kind of RTI applications which are put for just for the namesake. I think like what they do in the judiciary, that if a case is found to be wastage of time of the court, he or she is penalized. So in that way, even an RTI active, there are people who ask for volumes and volumes of data, which even 4 to 5 officers sitting together cannot compile even within 1 day or within 1 year. That kind of data, if somebody asks that I want all the data from 1947 to 2021 of all those people, then it's a wastage of effort and excess. But that also happens. So we have to find a ways and means how to cut out this unnecessarily just for the sake publicity kind of a thing which is also happening. And finally, because this is my initial statements, in the second round I'll take more. we also need to evolve ourselves, keeping in the time we are today. Like this act was enacted in 2005 when social media and such like things was not a very active was so much of a kind of influencing our lives. But today the social media aspects also is a very live thing. Today information is used as a weapon. So how much of information can you share? There are, I know that there are provisions in the act which says that, okay, you need not share state secrets, and those information which have IPR or intellectual property rights on all those things and all, you need not share. But then there are which seemingly look harmless, could be used by our adversaries or people who are in our own country, who would like to create troubles, in various forms, whether it is for their financial benefit or political benefit, for religious benefit, whatever may be the reason. So how do you know that this information may not be misused? That also is a question in the current time, when the information warfare and social media is playing such a big thing. So like I said, even if an opinion of an officer can be quoted as an information, so does the opinion of an officer in a social media platform, will that also be taken as a information? Such like, there's a lot of ambiguity in that space. So overall, what I would like to end by saying this: RTI Act was done with the best of intentions to give the power to the common man. However, today, although there has been some progress, but I believe that there are more loopholes which have been built in the system by the people who are running the system, thereby rendering the RTI Act as almost ineffective. Unless we reform ourselves, this act will also die a slow death. So I'll stop there, and in the next subsequent phases, I'll add more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Colonel Dini, for giving your views. And Colonel Dini says that RTI is a very, very good tool. Act was enacted with very good intention, but he says that the things which the RTI was supposed to achieve, they failed to achieve in that during this, because of this act, because of loopholes. The system, those who are running the system, they found the loopholes, and then they are creating lots of troubles for the RTI activists or those who are filing for asking for the information. And he has also mentioned how the bureaucrats are giving such type of overloaded reply, which a common person cannot understand. And that's why it has become a totally, you can say, it's not giving the benefit what the public wanted at one time. But simultaneously says that this RTI Act was also misused by many, and by asking such type of useless questions, sometimes politically motivated, religiously motivated, financially motivated, so that if any reply comes, they try to highlight that reply and try to damage the image of the government or to the individuals. So he says it is neither it could got the advantage or to achieve what it was enacted, but also sometimes it was used against the opponents or against the ruling party or against the opponents. So this, according to him, could not serve the purpose for which RTI was enacted. But he says there is lots of scope for improvement. One can do the improvement, one has to do it. But because both the sides, the RTI, those who are applying for the RTI, as well as those who wants to give the reply, they all wanted to see to it that this should be done simultaneously with their own, everyone's consent, so that the target which was supposed to be achieved by this particular act can be achieved. Thank you very much, Colonel S. Dini, for giving your opening remarks about RTI. Definitely, there are many things which I would like to ask, and especially when we come about the army or the defense thing, apart from those which is really official secrets, but there are many things which are not official secrets, but the defense services always take the shelter up against the official secret act. Whether then what is the use of the RTI? Many times it has happened, we have seen in the media also. So definitely we would like to have more clarification on that in the next segment. Thank you very much, Colonel Dini, for your remark, for your opening things. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and he is Wing Commander U. Satyan, retired, Indian Air Force. Wing Commander Satyan was commissioned on 10th December 1997 into the Aeronautical Engineering Mechanical stream of the IAF. He has 20 years experience working at various levels and portfolios in the engineering field, ranging wide from the surface to air missiles to maintaining aircraft like the Chetaks, Cheetahs, and advanced light helicopters, ALH, Aka, Dhruv. He has on ground working experience in the engineering arena at multiple IAF aviation bases and a base repair depot. He functioned as the senior engineering officer at multiple units, including an aviation unit. He has worked at Air Headquarters, the central decision-making body of the IAF, as a joint director and was involved in framing and incorporating policies and decisions for maintenance of aircraft, specifically the ALH variant, ALH Dhruv, MK1, MK2, and the weaponized ALH MK4 Rudra, manufactured by HAL. He was also involved in the phase-wise discussions of the latest Apache that IAF has recently acquired and light combat helicopters being designed and developed by HAL. Welcome, Wing Commander U. Satyan, on our show. Wing Commander, you have heard what Colonel Dinny has mentioned. And he says that the RTI Act was enacted with a very, very good intention, but it failed to achieve its the intention for which it was made, was created. Now, you were also involved in the decision making. You have also seen how the decisions were taking place. You have also dealt with the those intensity of the helicopters, the armed weapons. And you know, there are so many secrets which were not supposed to be disclosed because of it can give the benefit to our enemy countries. But still, the RTI has lots of things which even in your things, when you are taking a decision, whether that decision is in the interest of the country or sometimes it is a motivated with some corruptions involved or some personal things which are happening, which we are seeing, which we are reading in the newspapers. The other day we have read in the news that some lady officer was raped by some other colleague officer. So whether it will come under the RTI or not, or so many things are there. So we would like to know your views. The right to information, RTI, Wing Commander Satyan, please.
Good morning, Goelji. Thank you so much for inviting on the show, and thank you for the nice introduction that you gave about me. Yes, I was involved in the decision making at this body of the Indian Air Force, that is the Air Headquarters. And first of all, the news that has come about the lady officers, incident is not something which it is not in the right light, or I can say that it is not showing IF in a good light. That said, that amounts to probably about point. I cannot even say the number 0.001% of the cases. 99 point, in fact, I can say 99% are such that the officers and the men are focused towards the Indian Air Force and the building up of the organization. Having said that, I had some personal experience in answering to the RTI queries which had come to Air Headquarters. It was 100% of the cases, it was more public information which was being asked. But at the same time, there were some cases in which information such as the number of aircraft operating in an Air Force station, or the weapons that has been stored in the Air Force, these are supposed to be informations which we are not supposed to disclose to any person which is coming. But the point was, it had percolated down to the level of a joint director, which was as a wing commander, I was handling the portfolio of a joint director. So it had percolated down, asking for the information of those aircraft. Of course, the decision was taken by the higher echelons, but we had provided that information to our bosses there. At the same, what I would like to say is that though both of you have covered all the aspects of RTI, Aspects like these, like asking for information which are not supposed to be disclosed, or information that should not be available in the public domain, they constitute quite a lot of cases in the RTI. So what happens is, who loses here? The courts get clogged with these kind of RTI cases, going to court saying that these are the information, these are required. But in the bargain, the genuine RTI activists and the genuine cases wherein the people are asking for right to information for a requirement which needs to be met, they gets lost. And in one of the rulings of the Supreme Court in 2019, I think, the decision was passed that unless and until the reason is given for the RTI, the RTI may not be given. But 2005 RTI Act so says that no information needs to be given as to why that RTI will be used or the information will be used. Now, this is a double-edged sword. In today's world, the information warfare is the whole ballgame. How the information will be used by whom, we don't know. We had cases in the Air Force Station wherein the routine orders, which are only having the classification of restricted, like not to say confidential, secret, or top secret. Confidential, secret, or top secret are the information which are not supposed to be disclosed below the level where it is supposed to be disclosed. So even restricted information which are freely available to the public inside the Air Force Station, they were misused by for gaining the knowledge of the inner working of that Air Force Station. So till that extent, even the RTA can be used or misused, especially in the case of defense, wherein information is the channel of communication and information is the end ball game. You might have the best of the weaponry, but if you don't have the information at the right time at the right place, you might win or lose the war. So in those cases, the defense particularly is very skeptical in releasing information. They will only do so after giving due weightage to the fact that whether that information will be used for the restricted interest of that person, or they will be used for getting a better of that defense forces of that particular country. So what happens is, what we evaluate is that if the borders are not safe, the people inside are not. So for us, it becomes really difficult to understand as to if whether the information will be utilized in a good way or a bad way. So that is why at times the delays are there in releasing the information. But to say that government officials like Colonel Dini had rightly pointed out, there are in fact there are many government officials who are interested in doing their job transparently, and most of them are uh, doing their job to the perfection what they think. Yes, there are cases wherein I have not seen in Air Force, so I can't say in Air Force of corruption that you had mentioned. The even the Apache deal which we had gone through in the US, the people who had gone from Air Force were fully focused or getting the best deal for the Indian Air Force and India. So as the talk progresses, I'll have more to say. So for my opening statement, I'll say that because of the issues of the RTI being misused, what happens is the genuine cases gets lost, and that is the loss of the RTI per se. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Wing Commander Satyan, for giving your views. And what he says that RTI is being used or simultaneously misused. And he says that Air Force is totally focused. He even mentioned about the yesterday or day before yesterday is the rape case, and he said it's a very, very one rare case because everyone in Indian Air Force are focused for their work and for the safety of the country. And he says that he was in the headquarters, he also dealt with the this RTI applications, and he says RTI applications generally are for those information which are required for the welfare of the people as well as for the Army Air Force people. But there are many which are just asking those things which we cannot, according to wing commander, they cannot disclose. And that's right also, because if somebody is asking how many aircrafts is stationed in particular area, how come the Air Force, anyone can disclose this? After all, it's going to be, it's a motivated RTI application just to give the benefit to the enemy country. So he says that's why we have lots of difficulty to give the answers many times, because we feel that this is not in the interest of the country. And as he mentioned that in 2005 Act, it is very clearly mentioned that no reason will be given to why this information is required. Although he says somewhere in 2019, now Supreme Court has clarified about this, but still he says how one can misuse it. And as Colonel Dini has mentioned that about that the social media, yes, it is very difficult, even if information which has come, which can be manipulated and it can be put on the social media in such a way that it can harm the country's safety, which is very, very important. And one very important point which Wing Commander has mentioned is that if our borders are not safe, then how come our people will be safe? So basic idea is not to disclose those things which are going to create some problem for the safety of the country. And that is right also. So according to Wing Commander, the RTI is good, but if it is used properly, but if it is misused, then it is a very, very lethal weapon against the country. Thank you very much, Wing Commander, for giving your opening views. Definitely when we'll come to the next, I will ask some questions about what you have mentioned, and then we'll see how you will defend yourself, which I'm sure you are capable to do that. Thank you very much. Now, I am inviting my next panelist guest, and he's Mr. Nishan N. Mr. Nishan N is the president of Rti Club Mangalore. He is BA, BCom. He is pursuing his LLB as well as... Wing Commander, can you just mute yourself, please? Yeah, sorry. Yeah. He is pursuing his LLB, as well as he is doing a diploma in e-business management. He is also the International Service Director of Rti from 2020 to 21. He is the District Membership and Club Developer, RID 3181, which covers Mysore, Chamarajanagar, Dakshin Kannada, and Madikeri from 2021 to 21, 2020 to 21, and District Conference Co-Chairman, RID 3181, which covers Mysore, Chamarajanagar, Dakshin Kannada, and Madikeri 2021 to 22. Welcome, Mr. Nishan N on our show. Mr. Nishan, you being the president of Rti Club, so basically you are involved in the social service club, as well as you are also pursuing your course in law. So you have now good knowledge about the law also. So we would like to know, because you have heard our earlier panelist, Colonel Dini, as well as Wing Commander Satyan, and they have given their views about the RTI. Now, being a youth, being a young mind and pursuing law, you are seeing, and also being the president of the club, you are seeing the conditions in the society. And we would like to know what is whether this right to information has achieved, although Colonel Dini said no, and Wing Commander says that it is a double-edged weapon, which is being used and misused. We would like to know from you your views on right to information RTI. Mr. Nishan N, please.
Firstly, I would like to thank Lal Goel sir for giving wonderful introduction about me. And also, I'm blessed to be in this program because we have such a dignitaries like Wing Commander sir and also Dennis sir in this conference. I could get lot of information from them. So regarding my opinion, regarding right to information is that it is the first responsibility of every citizen to question authority. It is said by Benjamin Franklin. So it's our duty to question the authority. When we question them, then only they do our work. It is the place from even post-independence as well as pre-independence in India. So RTI symbolizes advancement of human civilization and harmonizes the public interest. It is one of the strongest tool, as you said, sir. It's one of the strongest tool, just like public interest litigation, PIL. This is also one of the strongest tool used by the public. In India, there is no explicit mention of the right to information in our constitution. But however, Article 19, subclause A of the constitution guarantees us the fundamental right to free speech as well as expression. The prerequisite for enjoying the free speech as well as expression is knowledge and information. So it indirectly covers the right to information. Therefore, the right to information is considered to be a constitutional right, being an aspect of the right to free speech and expression, which includes the right to receive as well as collect information. So this could also help the citizens perform their fundamental duties as set out in Article 51A of the Constitution. A fully informed citizen is much more, is better equipped to perform such duties. One who knows these, like his duties to perform, he has to have some tool, such as RTI. RTI helps him to perform his duties by knowing his right, as well as if any authority misleads him, he has this tool to ask him question that such authority. Even I would like to mention a few points in one of the landmark judgment, the case that is the state of UP versus Rajnarayan, AIR 975 1975 SC 8865. The court observed that in a responsible government like India, where all agents of the public must be responsible to conduct, everything cannot be a secret. Here, nothing is secret because everyone is answerable to others. And the people of this country have a right to know every public act, everything that is done in a public way by their public functionaries. We have all the right to know whatever they are doing. We have all the right to know because it's our money they are utilizing and we are paying their salary. So when we are paying their salary, we have all the, we can ask any information regarding whichever is useful for public. This is what the main intention of Right to Information Act. Again, in SP Gupta versus Union of India, AIR 1982 SC 149, popularly known as the Judges Transfer Case. So in this, the claim of the government of India in respect of the disclosure of certain documents, the Supreme Court, by a generous interpretation of the Constitution, that is guarantee of freedom of speech as well as expression, elevated the right to know, this right to inform, from which ultimately the new act, that is in 2005, under tremendous pressure from all the sides, the Parliament passed a bill which received the President's assent on 15 June 2005 and came into statute. That is none other than the Right to Information Act 2005. Commonly, we call it as RTI Act. There are people so-called as RTI activists. One who does only the thing is to apply RTI, and it is one of the social service, if I am not wrong, because by applying that, we are helping other people to know the information. And if when the authorities are doing wrong, we can let public to know where they are going wrong. So the act provides effective access to all the Indian citizens information, which is under control of public authorities, and promotes high degree of transparency in working in every public authority. The main objective of this act is to empower the citizen, promote transparency and accountability in working of the government. And also, the one more point I would like to mention, that is to curtail corruption. From when the RTI has started, people have like they are accountable to the public easily. So they have to take care about the corruption also. So and make even India more democracy to work for the people in real. In India, the democracy we have to make them to work under democracy, because some people don't even know. They think they are the superior. Authorities think they are the superior. No one can question them. This has been stopped because of the RTI Act after 2005. So the term information that is in the RTI Act has broad connotation. That is, it covers many material, any material form, records, memos, emails, opinions, advices, releases, as well as any electronic forms. It can be related to public authorities, and information relating to private body too which can be accessed by public authority. The Right to Information Act includes some right like to inspect the works, the document records, and to make notes and to extract recertified copies of the document, and many more. So any person who desires to obtain any information under this act must make a request in writing, either in regional language or in Hindi or in English, whichever is feasible for him. The official language of that area is considered, probably in Karnataka it might be Kannada, North it might be Hindi. So it has some prescribed fee too, it's not free. Then in the normal course, information of an applicant to be supplied within 30 days, as Sir mentioned, from the receipt of the application. If the information sought to life and liberty of a person, it has to be supplied within 48 hours. If the applicant request is rejected by the officer, we have to note it, like the reason for such rejection has to be mentioned, the period in which an appeal against such rejection may be preferred, and the particulars of the appellant authority. All this have to be answered by the authority, one who does reject the application. Then the act also provides for a rather long list of information that exempt from the disclosure, such as the security of the country, then strategic and scientific or economic interest of the state. Such things can't be disclosed to general public, which can be rather misused by them. So even things which can be contempt of the court or any court of law or any tribunal, such things also can't be disclosed. And information of the disclosure which would cause a breach of privilege of the parliament or any state legislature, even that can't be disclosed. Then to conclude, I would like to now that there is n number of acts which are in our country, but successful one are very less. Even to be frank, whether in everyone's mind the question arises whether RTI is successful. So according to me, yes, it is, because for the first time in history of independent India, there is a law which casts a direct accountability of the office for non-performance. If the concerned officer does not provide information in time, a penalty of rupees 250 per day of delay can be imposed by the Information Commissioner. If the information provided is false, a penalty of rupees 25,000 up to rupees 25,000 can be imposed. And to be surprisingly, it is imposed on their personal salary. Government won't pay that. This fine will be deducted from the personal salary of the authority or authoritative person. So a penalty can also be for providing incomplete as well as rejecting the application for mala fide pension. So this fine deducted from the personal salary, this much is enough for us, that how this tool can help the general public to question an authority. So according to me, RTI is one among those successful acts and also very much useful for citizen of or common man. So I would like to thank everyone for this opportunity, and also I would like to thank all the co-panelists for giving their insights on RTI and also enlightening me on much more information regarding this. Also, I would like to thank Lal Goel sir, Paul sir, and all the media support for letting me to speak on this particular topic. Thank you one and all.
Thank you very
Over
much,
to you,
Mr.
sir.
Nishan, for giving your views. And Mr. Nishan has mentioned, according to Mr. Nishan, this act is the most successful act, on contrary what Colonel Dini has mentioned. But he says that this is the act which has given a very, very strong tool or weapon in the hands of the public, and the public should know the truth and the working of the officer or the government, and they have right to question. And he has given all the details how the RTI works and how the sections and the Supreme Court rulings, how they have mentioned very clearly that the government has to be transparent. After all, the salary to everyone has been paid by the public only, so they have to give answers, except the safety or the security of the country, where the safety and security is required. Apart from that, everything should be transparent, so public should know where they are applying the money, where they are spending the money, and what is happening. So according to Mr. Nishan, this is a very, very strong tool, a strong weapon, and he says that RTI is really a game changer, and RTI has given the power to the general public. Thank you very much, Mr. Nishan, for giving your very, very strong views about in the favor of RTI Act. We will come next to you, and when we will come, definitely will ask how you claim about this. That is the next segment. Thank you very much. Now I would like to invite my next panelist. Sorry, she is Miss Shibana Banu Abdul Khani. Miss Shibana is pursuing her BA English Literature at Al Azhar College of Arts and Science, Idukki, Kerala. Miss Shibana, you have heard what our earlier panelist, Colonel Dini, Wing Commander Satyan, as well as Mr. Nishan has mentioned. And they have given their views somewhat in favor, somewhat against about the success of RTI Act. We would like to know from you your views, because you being a young student studying and watching very carefully and participating in many discussions as well as many programs, including Youth Conclave. And I would like to inform my viewers that initially Mr. Nishan and Miss Shibana, they used to participate in our Youth Conclave or those programs which were only mentioned for the youth. But now, once we have decided, we have found that they can participate in the main discussions, so that the advantage will be that the public will come to know the views of the youth of country, as well as they will also know the views, and they will also get the experience to participate along with the very expert panelists. And so it will be a blending thing. We want that the youth of the country should come forward and to know each and everything what is happening in the country, and they must take the responsibility. After all, 65% of the population belong to them. Thank you very much, Ms. Shibana Banu, for participating. Please give your views on right to information RTI. Ms. Shibana Banu Abdul Khani, please.
I'm audible, sir?
Yes.
A cordial welcome and a pleasant morning to one and all gathered here. I'm Shibana Banu Abdul Ghani. I'm pursuing my UG program in Al Azhar College, Todubula, Kerala. I'm glad to have this opportunity and happy to be part of this. Thank you so much. My sincere gratitude and heartfelt appreciation to Goel sir for giving me such an opportunity. Let's talk about RTI. RTI is the most fundamental law that a country has been, from the local panchayat to the parliament, from north village to post Delhi, and from ration shops to the 2G scam. India is the world's biggest democracy. Right to Information Act 2005 ensure that the people we put in power remain answerable to us always, and by no means they can use public funds arbitrarily. It is one of the most powerful registration in the hands of the people that empowers aim to seek information from the government. This act is immensely vital for the functioning of any democracy, as it sanctions its citizens the right to inspect the work of the government and ask for certified copies to know the status of the work of different government projects. The RTI mandates timely response to the request for information from a public authority. Right to Information Act empowers the people of India to get the information from the government. The right to information was passed on the parliament, and this act was accepted by the president on June 5th, 2005. This law came into force on 12th October 2005, except for Jammu and Kashmir. The main purpose of this right is to make every conscious citizen easy to make the desired information available. If a department or organization denies information, then the complaint has to be launched against them in the Central Information Commission. The RTI Act has promoted and lead to the good governance of the country, and is demand as a basic prerequisite of the government good governance. There is a close link between the right to information and the good governance. Good governance is characterized by transparency, accountability, and responsiveness. Human security, shelter, food, environment, and employment opportunity are all bound up with the right to information. In the presence of information on these issues, People cannot live a dignified life and will never remain ever a marginalized group in society. It is a powerful instrument to protect the fundamental rights of people. Indian Parliament has passed the Right to Information Act 2005 to make the government accountable, responsible, effective, and transparent to lead the good governance of the country. Right to information and the good governance are intertwined. They are the two sides of the same coin, or the two aspects of the same aspiration. That's to strengthen, stabilize, and broaden the working of the democratic system. Access to the information by the public is an essential element and prerequisite of the good governance. The RT is now accepted as a crucial underpinning of the participatory democracy. It has to widely acknowledged as a prerequisite for ensuring accountability and good governance. The right to information is vital for preventing corruption. When the citizen is access key facts and data from governments, it is more difficult to hide abuses of power and other illegal activities. Governments can be held accountable. Access to information also empowers citizens by informing their voting, giving them a chance to speak out against injustice and ensure they know their rights. The value of access to information is recognized around the world, and there are many other countries where both on paper and in practice the right to information is a reality. Nearly 120 countries have laws to enable it. However, it does not necessarily mean that citizens can get important government data in all these countries. The primary aim of the Right to Information Act is to empower the citizen of the country, and to achieve this, government of the country should work to promote transparency and accountability in the work done by the government, eradicate corruption, and make the government democracy work in favor of citizen in the sense, in a real sense. Informed citizens are better equipped and prepared to keep a constant vigil on the instruments of the governance and to hold government more accountable to the people. As per the Right to Information Act 2005, the word information may refer to the all materials in any forms of such as records, documents, memos, emails, opinions, piece of advice, press release, circulars, orders, logbooks, contracts, reports, paper, samples, models, etc. Held in an electronic form or include information related to any private body, which can be accessed by the public authority under any other law for the first time being in a force. Today, in addition to this act, we have benefit of the internet. Also, most of the youth today do not bribe to get jobs. Even if a small number of such people who can handle technology effectively are motivated to fight corruption, it can do wonders. Such optimism was unthinkable only a few years back. The RTI Act, young people and the internet bring real freedom to everybody. This was unlike during the Mahatma Gandhi's time, when we had to move from place to place to mobilize people and use communication method. That was very imperative. And so we are at the distinct advantage as we are empowered by technology. India is greater year after year as one of the most corrupt country in the world. By fighting corruption, we are making our tomorrow better. Right to Information Act protects the right of the third party regarding information, giving them the public authority, and it's treated as the confidential. It's such a case that the third party needs to be consulted by giving them notice in advance and opportunity to make their submissions. If the public relation office in turn to provide information about the third party, and the third party has the right to prefer appeal before the appellate authorities. And one of the most important aspects of the RTA is that citizen must be able to get information free of cost. Because, for example, if I'm a college student, we are applying for revaluation, they're asking fees for revaluation. Information provided the Concord system must be data. It must be ensured that citizens get information they have asked for in the most readable way possible. For example, it is easier for an RT applicant to access information if they are provided in a Word or Excel formats rather than a PDF format. People provide the information must be able to use and reuse the data easily. Lack of information may prevent citizens from realizing their aspirations. Because it leaves them without the basic to participate in any debate, discussion, or question answer sections regarding the decision making process, even if the decisions are detrimental to them. The RTA provisions have increased individual aspiration to participate in a debate that is directly or indirectly linked to him or her. Similarly, the government and its agents must have their website with the exclusive bottom which people can click to learn about the RTA and related issues. The website must contain all publications, legal documents, and quarterly and annual reports. And I conclude that right to information is a fundamental human right. Allowing access to the public information is well established, both in registrations and in the practice. It has been swiftly gaining popularity in many parts of the world as an effective tool to strengthen participatory democracy, promote good governance, check corruptions, and help ensure the other rights there, building opportunity and accountable society. As a result, billions of people around the world now enjoying the right to access information held by their governments and public agents. Millions of people around the world have utilize these laws to access public information, to explore and check, to ensure their ability to participate in public affairs, to improve public service delivery, and to protect other human rights, opportunities, and justice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shibana. Ms. Shibana is giving a new angle for the RTI, and she says this is something very useful for the youth, and youth can generate even the employment. And she says because of the informations which can be obtained, many information which are beneficial for youth. Thank you very much, Ms. Shibana. You have given a new angle. I'm sure that today's our media conference is definitely enlightening the people from all the angles to the about the RTI. Thank you very much. Now I would like to invite my next guest is Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, IAS. Dr. Bose is one-man expert commission on labor to prepare an action plan for the welfare and development of the workforce in the context of COVID-19. He is also the principal advisor, Government of India Heritage Project. Unfortunately, Dr. Bose has to take a flight and he could not attend physically, but what he has done is before taking the flight, he has recorded his message about this RTI, which I'm going to play right now, which one can hear loud and clear. So, a message from Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, IAS, please.
The legislation to this effect, passed in 2005, has certainly been a landmark act. But as Shakespeare would say, it is more honored in the breach. Pardon me for starting on an apparently negative note, but I have a personal experience which prompts me to say this. I think I should share it with my enlightened viewers. The Supreme Court of India appointed me as head of an expert committee to look into the conservation and maintenance of the treasures of Sri Padmanabha Swami Temple in Trivandrum, Kerala. The temple walls are said to contain treasures which the media describes as the world's largest treasure. The Supreme Court has ordered that we cannot go public about what we saw there, and I abide by the Supreme Court order. So no comments about the extent of the treasures. Here, the point is how RTA Act has been defaced and defined by the political bureaucratic nexus in Kerala in this particular issue. Some residents were not very happy about the way I was carrying out the work. They presumed that I go by their advice. But I prefer to go by the advice of my conscience and of course the expertise within my committee. Obviously, the Western interests took to mischievous conspiracy and decided to ease me out of the assignment. But that was not easy. The appointment was made by the Supreme Court of India, and only the Supreme Court can make any change. In spite of this fact, the then government of Kerala was persuaded to issue an order removing me from the committee. When legal experts pointed out that this brazen act of government is against the law and will invite the wrath of the Supreme Court, government was forced to withdraw the illegal order. This is only the background. Now, where does Rti Act comes here? An officer in my team raised a specific queries demanding the government's file notes in the matter. Government of Kerala, not the present government, did not give answers to the Rti queries. The officer kept on raising the queries in on different occasions, but met with evasive answers. This incident is presented here only to show that bureaucracy and the politicians can act against any act and rule against any rules. The Whistleblowers Act further buttresses the citizens' right to information. If anyone from within the government system wants to reveal the skeletons in the cupboard kept by the corrupt officials, the law will protect the whistleblowers. In my humble experience, the grandma is always right. Proof of the pudding is the eating. As rules can be spaciously formulated, but how it is implemented is what matters. India has been known to be a soft state where the laws are not executed with certainty. Show me the man, I will show you the rules. Seems to be the governmental approach everywhere. A triangle has three sides, but occasionally you can have a fourth. One seems to be the general trend of the law enforcement within government. All are equal, but some are more equal. In spite of the flaws in execution, the Rti Act, along with the Whistleblowers Act, offer a protective shield to the common man. At least, the governmental functionaries will be more careful in dealing with the matters at least on file. This only means there will be a method in the madness. The madness still prevails. What we need is an open government. People need open governmental practices, openly arrived at and openly implemented. That horizon still eludes, but hope springs eternal in the human breast. So let us hope that the Act will be strengthened in its implementation as democracy matures in the country. Even when government gives answers to the Rti queries of a common man, the answers concede more than they reveal. The governmental dharma seems to be changing its definitions to justify the governmental karma. Let us take an example from the Mahabharata about government answering Rti queries. The scene is the battleground of Mahabharata. Acharya Drona is the commander-in-chief that day. He vanquishes the Pandava forces with lightning speed. The stage came when everyone apprehended Drona will annihilate the enemy forces single-handedly. No one can checkmate Drona in answer. Defeating him is impossible. What to do? Mischievous Krishna suggests a mischievous way out. Drona should lay down arms. How is it possible? Krishna has a way out for this also. If the Acharya knows that his son Aswathama is no more, he will lay down arms. catching on this, Bhima gives an elephant called Ashwatthama and spreads the news in the battlefield. Ashwatthama is dead, Ashwatthama is dead. The news reached the ears of Drona. He was crestfallen. But he wants to know the truth, the right for information from Yudhishthira, who is the embodiment of Dharma. He asked Yudhishthira, in the modern parlance, Drona raised an Rti query before the ruler, Yudhishthira. Do you know what is the evasive and misleading reply given by the Chief Public Information Officer of the day, King Yudhishthira himself? King Yudhishthira's reply was no better than an Rti reply given by Babus of Delhi for an elite secretary. Yudhishthira told Drona, Ashwatthama Hata Kunjaya. Ashwatthama is dead. Ashwatthama is dead within the earshot of Drona. Ashwatthama heard it without Drona hearing it. So when did the modern rulers learn to trigger the tree? From the elders themselves. Yudhishthira once again proved that government is the arm of the person. But I do not want to leave my very dear viewers cynical or skeptical about governance. The Prime Minister of India has launched a momentous mission to take the government service, Mission Karma Yogi. This mission, headed by the Prime Minister himself, is to change government officials from the rule-based to the role-based model. Those who do not deliver in government will be shown the exit door. One hopes Rti Act will be implemented in a people-centric manner in the days to come. Satyameva Jayate. Thank you, Mr. Goel. Thank you, my dear viewers. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Relevant, and you said how the information officers manipulate the answers to mislead even the public at large, and you have mentioned it very, very clearly. So thank you very much. Now I would like to ask our panelists, the Colonel Dini first. Colonel Dini, my question to you is, you mentioned about the loopholes in RTI. Now, what are the loopholes? Why, when we are talking about the loopholes, we have to be very, very clear about the loopholes, because after all, as our panelist, Mr. Nishan, as well as Ms. Shibana has mentioned, for them, the youth feels that this is something a very good tool. So if those loophole has to be covered or been plugged, then this tool can be used properly. And when youth is interested to do, you are such a senior person from the army background, as well as from in the public dealing every day. We would like to know why, who is in fault? Is the government is not interested to do the loophole, plug the loophole? The bureaucracy is not interested, because government, there are two wings: political leadership or the bureaucracy, or some vested interest, those who doesn't want to plug the loopholes. Colonel Dini, please.
Thank you, Shri Goelji. I think more or less Shri Anand Bose also has echoed whatever I was trying to say. And let me at the outset say that I'm not saying that the RTI Act is a total failure. My only thing is, let me make it, let's put a comparison. The Election Commission is also something akin to the RTI. You also have a CIC, the Chief Information Commissioner, and both are constitutional bodies. Both have been enacted by the Parliament, and both are for the strengthening of the democracy. Now, if you give a scale of for the Election Commission and for the RTI, how does it help our democracy? The Election Commission, I will put it at about 7.58, out of 10. However, the RTI Act, what is the efficiency, what is done for the democracy, and what is it for the common man? I will put it at 3. So that is the difference, which I'm not saying it is 0, or I'm not saying it is that, but it is at 3. It can go up to 6 and 7 when it will become really effective. Like today, we know that Election Commission is really effective. The whole world acknowledges that such a big democracy, the Election Commission does, have a very fair system of doing. So similarly, the RTI has to move ahead in that manner. Now, the question which Shri Goel ji asked was a very pertinent question, that what are the systematic loopholes in it? Unfortunately, Shri Goel ji, just like in any other system, whether it's a judicial system, whether it's a political system, whether it is our bureaucratic system, the system of the RTI also has been, made impure, or the loopholes have been discovered by the people in the system, like the people. And when I say people in the system, it is not only the bureaucrats, even the people outside the, who are part of the system, but who are wanting to know the information. As I mentioned, not everybody wants it to be for a honest, for knowing the people, for the knowing the information. Now, I know that there is a large number of people who still wants to, like, for example, if my father wants to go to the village office, he wants to know that, I had given a tax, has it been approved? If it is not, then till that an RTI can be filed, and there is a provision in getting that and all. But the problem comes in a bigger projects, in a thing in which a lot of money is there. There, the system, there are people who are wanting to actually saying that, I would put it that they want to actually derail the process. So they file infructuous RTIs. Now we have to have, this is a loophole in it, that how much RTI can a person file information from 1947 to 2. As on day, I can do that. I can go to any office and say from 1947 to 2021 all the information for a particular thing, and nobody says that why do you want to know it. Now, so actually I'm wasting the time of the people who are sitting in that office, and also I may use it for whatever reasons. Now coming people who are supposed to give it. Now Nishan made a mention that there is a provision of 250 rupees or something which can be given as a penalty for this. Now my question is, how many people have been penalized for this? I don't know of any person. I know of court cases where there is a contempt of court, when people have been, including in Kerala, when the famous ISRO spy case, in which the payment of that Nambi Narayanan, the police officers were supposed to pay him the so those kind of things, a judicial process has taken. But I don't remember too many cases wherein RTI, because of lack of filing of RTI, there has been, the officers have been penalized in such a big manner. No. And so these are the loopholes which because of want of time, I will not be going further. Yeah. But these are the loopholes which are there. I think once we overcome this, as I mentioned, from 3, we can go to 6 and 7, and really then it will become very effective.
Okay, thank you very much. Now my question goes to Wing Commander. Wing Commander, when we are so much transparent, open, why the political parties are not under RTI? What is the problem? We should know who is paying the money to them, how much money they are spending, where the money is coming, where the money is going, all those things, because many parties have created the parties only to get all the benefits and come not coming under the purview of RTI. There are many parties. It has come in the media also. But so why either the ruling party doesn't want that they should disclose, they should be transparent. Opposition parties also not. No one is interested. So don't you think that the political party should come under the ambit of RTI?
Goelji, I think in the ideal scenario, I think every agency in the country, be it political or even press for that matter, should come under the RTI. But we are not living in a ideal scenario. I can not recollect any country who has put its own ruling governance under the RTI. Even here, the government agencies are liable to be questioned, and in many aspects you can put the question to the parliament as well as the judiciary also. But yes, the party funding has not yet been put under RTI, unless and until there is a change in the general mindset of the country per se. I don't think this is going to happen anytime in the future.
Okay. Thank you, Wing Commander, for giving you say. Now my question goes to Mr. Nishan. Mr. Nishan, you have heard what Colonel Dini as well as Wing Commander Satyan has mentioned. And the political party funding is not coming. When Wing Commander says the mindset has to be changed. The youth, if the youth are not changing the mindset, if they are also following what their leaderships are saying, and they are not interested to change, then what is the use? Why the youth cry that the policies have been made which are against us, their future, the joblessness, etc., etc. Because until unless we will not bring the parties, political parties, irrespective of political party, I'm not saying BJP or Congress or the communist, or I say all the parties, if they will not come, how the corruption can be eradicated? Just to make the bureaucrat responsible is nothing, because bureaucrat is a small fry in the structure. Until what you say about it, do you think that the political parties funding should come under RTI or not?
As per RTI Act, there is a separate clause called public authority. Whichever comes under that public authority, only they are answerable. For example, I can't ask next neighboring owner to give his details because he doesn't come under that public authority. So unless they bring into this title, that is public authority, we can't. But I would like to give one instance. PM Cares Fund. You all know that prior to this, like everyone questioned accountability, how much they have spent, but it won't come under RTA. Why? Because it won't come under the purview that is public authority. I think I have answered your question.
No, but Mr. Nishan,
are using this tool.
Yes, you have answered it. But now I go to, because at paucity of time, I will go to Ms. Shivana. Ms. Shivana, he has raised a pertinent question of PM Care Funds. Everybody knows the PM Cares Fund was done for the COVID thing, and people have donated the money. And they now says that it is not a government organization. We are not a public authority. Don't you think it is just to not come under the purview of RTI Act? They have done like this. Otherwise, there was already a national disaster fund, or so many funds were there. Why the PM Care Fund? It was created only so that there will be no transparency, and those in political leaderships can misuse the funds donated by the companies and by the public. What you say? Short answer, please, Ms. Shivana. Please unmute. Ms.
Yes,
Shivana,
sir.
please unmute. Do you think, my question, I will just reframe. Do you think the PM Care Fund should come under RTI Act or not?
No, sir.
No. According to you, we should not bring the PM Care Funds under the RTI Act?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I'm not getting the answer from you.
Sir, a little bit, sir. Wait, sir.
Yes, Ms. Shivana, I think some problem.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead. We can hear you.
I'm audible, sir.
Yeah, you are audible, please.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Sir, can you explain once more?
No,
I'm facing a network issue.
The PM Care Fund, which everybody knows today, should come under RTI ambit or not?
No, sir.
Why?
Actually, I don't have a basic ideas
No
about these things.
But yes, Mr. Nishan has already mentioned that it should come, but unless it will not be declared as this thing. But thank you very much. So today, viewers, you have seen the RTI, which has been enacted by the Parliament to give a transparency for the public, so that the public should know what is happening to the money which they are spending, giving to the government in the form of taxes and other things, and government should be transparent. It has worked, but there are many things which is still their scope is it should improve. As our panelist has agreed that this is a very, very important tool. It should not be misused. And this is not the responsibility of the government only, it's the responsibility of the civil society. We all are responsible. If we will misuse something, then we are basically basically misusing the very, very important tool. We are missing the chance. We cannot ask, like PM Care funds. If we would have not misused it and we would have asked the proper questions, they would have given. But when we are only trying to malign the government or anyone on the on the seats, it is not correct. We should try to take the advantage of RTI for the benefit of the society, not to malign anyone. Thank you very much. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, as well as was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And tomorrow in our media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m., being a very, very important day, tomorrow is the World Heart Day. And we are going to have the media conference on that. And tomorrow, our panelist will be Professor Dr. Vivek Gupta, MD, DM, is the Senior Interventional Cardiologist, Apollo Hospitals, New Delhi. Dr. Srinivas Ramka, MD, DM, FACC, FAHA, FCSI, FIA, is the Consultant Cardiologist of Srinivas Heart Center and Chairman of Srinivas Heart Foundation, Warangal, Telangana. And Dr. Dilip Singhvi, MBBS, MRCP, RCP, UK, MD, DM from Boston School of Medicine, USA, is the specialist of internal medicine and diabetes. He is the medical director of Apollo Hospital, Muscat. So please tune in tomorrow for media conference Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, Colonel Dini. Thank you very much, Wing Commander Satyan. Thank you very much, Mr. Nishan. And thank you very much, Ms. Shivana, for giving your views and enlightening the public about the right to information, RTI. And thank you all our viewers for watching our shows. Thank you very much.